With over tens of thousands of known species of mammals and birds, reptiles, fish, and flowering plants, what a paradise our world would be. But no matter how we yearn to make our planet a haven for God's beautiful creatures, extinction would still be a natural course of the evolution of life on Earth. Sadly, in recent times, humans have been the main irresponsible cause of the alarming loss and disappearance of many animals and wildlife. Among these rapidly disappearing animals is the rarest of bird species, the Spix macaw. Native to Bahia, Brazil, the grayish-blue shade of the Spixes makes it the most distinctive of all macaws. Today, about 60 of these magnificent parrots are known to exist in the world, all of them in captivity. This is Birds International Incorporated Research and Breeding Center. Aside from the Spix macaw, Birds International is home to a vast array of exotic birds from around the world. Over 6,000 birds and breeding pairs are housed in this bird sanctuary located within a suburban residential enclave in the Philippine Islands. The country's temperate climate is ideal for the survival and propagation of exotic bird species. And with abundant manpower resources, the availability of tropical food for the birds, the exceptionally rich fauna and flora, the Philippines is indeed a natural haven for aviculturists. Birds International, or BII, is the largest avian breeding facility in Southeast Asia and probably the world. The 6-hectare Integrated Research and Breeding Center is managed by a staff of rigidly trained, college-educated personnel, each devoted to fulfilling Birds International's noble mission of replenishing the lost bird population in the wild, conserving and protecting rare and endangered birds by successfully breeding them in captivity, monitoring and ensuring the discriminate use and the sustained management of parrot resources. Many bird species have declined in number because of many factors: loss of habitat, reduced nesting sites, and increased exploitation. Because of this pressing concern, CITES, or the Convention for International Trade of Endangered Species of Flora and Fauna, has established a worldwide system of controls on international trade in threatened wildlife. Protection is provided especially for the most endangered species, categorized as Appendix 1. For these species, an excellent way to increase the chances for survival is through captive breeding. Since the 1970s, Birds International has been successfully breeding species of birds classified under Appendix 1. Moluccan cockatoo, red-vented cockatoo, black palm cockatoo, Penine macaw, Spix macaw, hyacinth macaw, scarlet macaw, military macaw, Buffin's macaw, red-fronted macaw, Illiger's macaw, venacious Amazon, green-cheeked Amazon, red-tailed Amazon, red-topped Amazon, Cuban Amazon, Tucuman Amazon, yellow-shouldered Amazon, blue-throated conure, golden conure, Nicobar pigeon, red and blue lory. As one of the largest captive breeding centers of its kind in the world, Birds International has achieved breakthroughs in aviculture and serves as a leader in the research and development of new breeding techniques. Birds International applies the latest in avian breeding technology, contributing to this body of knowledge through pioneering research. With a responsibility of ensuring the survival of the species, the highest standards are observed in order to successfully propagate and sustain the birds. BII follows strict protocols in all areas, such as sanitation, food preparation, and feeding. At BII, the day begins as early as 4:30 a.m. at the food preparation building, where 1.5 tons of food is dispensed daily to feed all the birds. Tropical fruit and vegetables are bought from the local market thrice a week to ensure freshness. Trusted suppliers deliver fruits in various stages of ripeness. These are washed and rinsed in a water solution of calcium propionate. The walk-in chiller has a capacity to store food in large bulk. Because the temperature is kept at an average of 6.5 to 7 degrees centigrade, food supply, like imported pellets, nuts, and various medicines, are kept stable for several months a year. Stock level for imported supplies is also monitored consistently, that when supply goes down to a 3-month level, another order is made. At the kitchen, workers slice, chop, and pressure cook the food. Preparations vary according to the dietary requirement of each type of bird. Dietitians mix special concoctions of salad, various seeds, sprouted grain, fresh corn, and pellets for the birds. A dosage of vitamins and mineral supplements top the diet. Depending on the season, the diet is strictly regulated. For the non-breeding months, a lighter diet is given that consists of more fruits and vegetables. Seeds and nuts are lessened, and high-protein pellets are changed to maintenance pellets with lower protein and fat content. Then, a month or two before breeding starts, food is increased. With the assurance of food that is abundant, the bird's natural instinct to reproduce is heightened. As dawn breaks, an army of caregivers make their way through the compound to feed the birds. Only the exact nutritional requirements of each species in a particular life stage and cycle is given. Because the temperature and humidity of the tropics encourages food to become a culture medium for bacteria and fungi, a system of regular feeding 4 times a day ensures the freshness of what is given. Feed cups are sanitized before each feeding to eliminate the possibility of contamination. Even the quality of the water given to the birds must pass quality standards. The bird's water supply is especially treated through an ultraviolet filtration system. Water samples are screened in the laboratory to make doubly sure it is free from bacteria and pollutants. At BII, standard operation procedures of sanitation are strictly followed. Caged floors, feed trays, and perches are scrubbed with chlorinated water and sprayed with disinfectants. Flight aviaries are cleaned to avoid bacterial cultivation in fecal pellets and discarded food. Visitors and caretakers are also required to take sanitation procedures and use footbaths. Even motor vehicles are not exempted from this rule. At BII, a bird hospital and laboratory provides the necessary veterinary services for the bird. The BII laboratory has 4 light microscopes, an endoscope machine that can be used for surgical sexing of the birds, and a surgitron machine for soft tissue surgery and operation. BII also has a mechanical convection incubator for bacterial and fungal culture that will help identify specific cause of disease for proper diagnosis and treatment. A reflotron machine is used to determine blood values such as SGOT, uric acid, cholesterol, amylase, glucose, and others. The gas anesthetic apparatus is used during surgical sexing and endoscopy. In case of a disease, the hospital staff immediately acts on the situation to avoid an outbreak in the aviary. Ill birds are quarantined to avoid infection of other birds and will continuously be monitored for reaction to the treatment. While the hospital has the capability to cope with any problem that may arise, the focus of the veterinary staff is on preventive work, such as the workup of breeders during the non-breeding season. This involves various laboratory tests and procedures. The hospital also regularly takes culture samples of the birds, food, equipment, water, and other elements of the environment in order to ensure that the highest standards of hygiene and sanitation are maintained. Just as humans need the comfort and convenience of a home, the birds here at BII are housed in well-designed cages. All the birds' cages, both the portable ones and the large aviaries, are constructed to keep their occupants safe from harm while simulating their natural habitat. Special twin-weld galvanized wire mesh imported from the United Kingdom is used. The cages are designed to prevent rats and sparrows from entering the cage while preventing harm to the occupants. At BII, the specially designed flight aviaries are equipped with double doors to prevent the birds from escaping. Main doors are securely locked too. Have a separate food tray entrance. Cages are raised a foot or so above the ground, and the base covered by smooth iron sheets impenetrable to rats and other small animals. To cool the environment, an artificial shower is regularly turned on for several hours daily, even more frequently during the hot summer months. Special attention is also given to details that would help the birds develop to their utmost peak, like the types of perches used and the varying heights in which they are strategically placed inside the cage. Wood perches that help condition the bird beaks are changed every month to discourage the growth of fungi and bacteria. At BII, a total of 19 flight breeding aviaries are available, with an average of 120 compartments each. A cemented walkway between the aviaries allows for easier nest inspection. There are several hundred portable cages in various sizes to accommodate different species of breeding birds. And there are also 90 mini flight breeding aviaries that can house a grouping of small to medium breeding birds. The cemented floor with drainage, covered by 3 to 4 inches of sand, is cleaned and disinfected daily with chlorinated water. Periodically, the entire layer of sand is changed. All of these cages have nest boxes that ensure a more conducive breeding environment and privacy for the pairs. Birds become easily annoyed and are extremely sensitive to disturbance during the breeding season, so some areas are closed off to people traffic and are restricted except for a limited number of caretakers assigned. Non-breeding birds also occupy the same portable or mini flight aviaries, but without the provision of a nest box. Depending on the species, 2 types of nest boxes may be used, either made of plywood or palm trunk. Both types have been successful in the Spix macaw breeding program. These nest boxes have a back door through which nest eggs are inspected or hatched birds and eggs are pulled out. After each egg is pulled out, the nest boxes are disinfected and the nesting materials replaced. At the end of the breeding season, the nest boxes are taken down, thoroughly disinfected, and, if worn out, changed. BII personnel are highly trained to identify bird pairs that are about ready to breed. They would be the birds that are always together, and they preen each other's feathers like a courting couple. Whether the pairing of birds is achieved through natural bonding or forced pairing, a strict medical protocol is followed. Each bird goes through a complete physical examination, including blood and stool analysis, culture and sensitivity tests, and deworming. Leg bands would determine if a pair is not blood-related and if they are of the opposite sex. And when a potential breeder has finally found its mate, and before it is transferred to a breeding cage, a complete workup is done to check if all results are normal and the birds have good musculature. When the time comes for a female to lay its eggs, strict protocol is followed. Placed in specially lined boxes, the eggs are pulled out 15 to 20 days from the estimated date the egg is laid, depending on species. This is the safest stage where the embryo is least likely to suffer damage from the transfer. Every egg is accounted for with an entry number, its lineage tracked and established. The entry also indicates whether or not the parents are bred in captivity. The hatchery and nursery facility is the heart of Birds International's operations, where careful attention is given to each egg until it hatches a few weeks later. Within the BII compound, 5 buildings house the nursery and the hatchery. 2 hatchery rooms with air conditioning system and insulation make doubly sure the temperature and humidity is controlled and kept stable. Special equipment are also available in each room to provide the most suitable environment for the eggs. 40 groomback egg incubators, 2 hatcher units, dehumidifiers, a candler, and egg weighing scales. At the hatchery, eggs are deposited at the receiving counter, where they are first cleaned with a disinfecting solution. The Animal Intensive Care Unit, or AICU, is used as a holding station while the egg awaits the candling. This is done to keep the warmth of an egg. At this point, each embryo is inspected through candling. Slightly damaged eggs are repaired if necessary. Once their condition is determined, they are placed in the egg incubators with a desired temperature and humidity setting. Though the incubators are equipped with mechanical egg-turning devices, these are hardly ever used. At BII, hand-turning is the rule, the best insurance against damage. Eggs are turned 7 times a day at the most. As the hatching draws near, they are handled less. Technicians daily check the size of egg air cell and the development of the embryo through candling and get the egg's daily weight as an indicator of correct weight loss. The increase in air cell size will immediately indicate if an egg is losing the correct amount of moisture. Upon hatch, the first excretion is submitted to the laboratory for evaluation for any bacterial load that may cause problems and that proper attention can be given to the bird. Newly hatched birds are kept in the incubators for 8 to 12 hours, after which they are given the first feeding by hand. Then, approximately every 2 hours after that, round the clock. Then, they're moved to the nursery. A total of 42 air-conditioned rooms with exhaust system make up the nursery. Over 300 animal intensive care units, 150 wooden brooders, and several hundred portable cages are available for use, depending on the age of the birds. Bird weighing scales are also provided in each room. The well-trained in-house veterinarians and technicians closely monitoring their development also log periodical readings of the bird's weight, crop emptying time, stool, and their general physical condition. BII processes food for newly hatched progenies right at the nursery. The kitchen is equipped with a microwave oven, osterizers, pressure cookers, heavy-duty grinders, and pellet grinders. A refrigeration unit stores food and other vitamins and medications. Different types of baby food formulations, supplemented by additives and vitamins, are prepared fresh each day. Food that is not consumed within 6 hours, although kept in the refrigeration unit, is discarded to avoid spoilage. After 12 hours from hatching, the progenies are transferred to carefully assigned rooms. Hand feeders and caretakers also have certain areas of limitation to avoid contamination. As the egg is hatched, the approximate time and age is noted for correct banding to be done. When progenies reach the correct banding age and size, a closed leg band is attached to the right leg. This serves as the identification for each bird, indicating their lineage and other pertinent information that will be used. In some cases, the use of microchips implanted in the bird's breast muscle is used for further identification. Because of its experience and extensive research, BII has determined the weaning times for different species of birds. The staff carefully take note of the bird's age in relation to weight, its muscle tone, to see if the birds are indeed ready to engage in the weaning process. Hand feeding is slowly withdrawn, and solid food chopped into small pieces are introduced. After weaning, and before the progenies are released into the flight cages, the birds undergo a physical checkup to address any abnormalities. A complete medical workup is done, where crop and feces culture samples are taken, and various tests are performed, including blood work. The birds are also sexed through surgical means. After determining the sex, an open leg band is attached to the left leg of the females, while the males do not get another leg band. When the results of the physical and medical tests are normal, the birds are slowly acclimatized and will eventually be released in the flight aviaries. Careful monitoring by the nursery staff is maintained to make sure that they are adapting well to the weather and conditions outside. In some instances, parents are allowed to rear their nestlings themselves. Like humans with mother's milk, these progenies benefit from the bacteria-killing properties of the mother bird's saliva. But artificial hatching and hand-rearing greatly reduces, if not eliminates, transmission of diseases from parent birds. Also, closer observation of the progenies may be made, and problems can be addressed earlier, if any would arise. Overall, proper artificial hatching and hand-rearing can result in a healthier and happier bird. As in all facilities in BII, the strictest hygiene and sanitation standards are observed at the hatchery and nursery. Equipment are sterilized, and the staff are required to disinfect themselves before entering the building, donning lab gowns over their clothes and a different set of footwear upon entry. All precautions are taken against germs and bacteria by observing proper hygiene and protocol and disinfecting all areas. From the floors to the walls, to the AICU filters, to the AICU water reservoir, the cages, all feeding utensils, everything is disinfected more than once a day. And to ensure that all possible sources of contamination is eliminated, BII intends to install UV light disinfection in different areas of the facility. In order to effectively track down and monitor the progress of each bird, Birds International keeps efficiently recorded data of all activities administered in every department. From pairings, transfer of birds, leg banding, to the times of laying and hatching, and from percentage mortalities in different age groups, to the number of offsprings produced, every detail must be recorded and encoded into the main computer daily. Using available computer resources, estimated dates of hatching are computed automatically to aid in the marking process. Leg band numbers and genetic lineage are also carefully logged to avoid any deleterious inbreeding. Every event in progress is tracked to determine the future of the breeding stock. While every procedure is carefully monitored and every achievement assessed, these records become the basis for the extent to which Birds International has been effectively achieving its goals. As Birds International strives to provide a controlled environment for its birds that mirror their natural habitat, it must also keep up to date with the latest developments in the science of aviculture. BII had already reached F1, F2, and F3 progenies in most of their Appendix 1 and 2 species. Though BII has been catering to only serious aviculturists around the globe, it only sells surplus specimens to underwrite the cost of the captive breeding program. Any profit gained is used to support the continuation of the program. especially aimed at the recovery of the Appendix 1 species. BII also has continuously complied with the Philippine Animal and Wildlife Bureau, or PAWB's, quarterly and annual inspection. The PAWB requires a quarterly production report detailing all production at BII. At the end of the year, PAWB CITES personnel conduct a physical inventory. PAWB CITES personnel perform a physical inspection of the birds cited in the Export Application Production Report after BII submits its export application together with a specific production of all the birds intended for export. Leg bands and the species of the birds are thoroughly checked and inspected. The uncompromising dedication and commitment of Birds International to the preservation of endangered birds of our planet is highlighted by the phenomenal success of the Spix Macaw Recovery Program. As a prime mover of this noble cause, BII engages in the active exchange of bloodlines to further improve the gene pool of the Spix macaw, with the ultimate objective of species conservation and propagation. For the last 3 decades, a remarkable example of coexistence between man and bird has been achieved at Birds International. In a world where humankind is so often at odds with nature, Birds International Incorporated has indeed become a perfect sanctuary for our endangered avifauna.